All right, let's take a look at Tesla. So I'm going to analyze Tesla stock. I'll discuss how it ran all the way up and what were the things to look for, the signs of distribution, and what it's currently doing, and whether I would buy this at this point or will I wait. So I'm going to draw some lines. So I have previously put these two lines. So this is your upper channel, and this is your lower channel. So you can see right in here. So the let's go to weekly. Um, so yeah, let's not go all the way back. So I'm gonna start here in 2020. So that's your panic bottom. So they generally don't hold, but because the government was pumping so much money, and people were just getting on margin, and so it was a riot. People were just flocking to market. So I'm not concerned about the news or what made it do that. So let's just stick with the patterns. So there was there were several weeks of distribution, but it eventually broke out on this volume week. Then it kept going on and on. So in here it consolidated for a few weeks, moved on, consolidated for a few weeks, broke out again, and then this was kind of a bigger correction. And this when this starts to happen, when you're seeing gaps on a weekly basis, so this is generally a final kind of blow off move. So this is where you should certainly get out. So I wouldn't mind if you got out somewhere even in here, because yes, it took a very long. Number one, it took January 2021. So yeah, all the way up to October. It took several months to come back to that price level, and even if you held through that move, you were down. Yeah, you were down approximately 40%. So in here, gaps up. So this is more like an exhaustion gap. So when a stock has been rising steadily, and then it's in a late stage base. So this is another thing. You see how loose and wide this pattern is. Gaps up, moves on real quick on one of the heaviest volume days um, in the stock. So and then yeah, it moves all the way up in here. So if we were there, so we'll only see that. So nothing is conclusive, so it's still looking good. So this is where I would be a little concerned, because we'll still be able to see only this much. But yeah, so the stock comes all the way up and makes to fails to make a new high. So but we're still good. And then it just goes down, tries to come up, but once again it fails to make a new high. So that's when I put this line there. So sometimes there are two lines, so there would be another line, but these are just trying to push through that line but failing to do it. Well, you'll see why this line is here later on. So and I also threw this lower line. This is the day. So this is the day, April 26th. I also posted it online, like, because this is the day I think it broke down more than 12%. Yeah, so it broke down more than 12% on a very heavy volume. So this is where you should definitely be out of the stock anyways. So then again it broke down, and from here onwards, the classic mistake a typical investor would make is, so they would ignore what the chart or the picture is telling, that the stock is continually failing to make new highs, and you see how the volume starts to rise on down days. So but still you can't really, the volume is not very telling so far, because you see then you know, um, several days of accumulation in a row. So in here, the earnings were also there. So you see, probably all 3 times. So earnings probably started to falter, and the big funds and institutions start to dump the stock. So, so this is where you should definitely be out of the stock. Um, but yeah, some people, people use all kinds of different approaches. The value investors, people who don't even look at charts, or people who say they are holding for the long term. But all that is only good if the stock is rising in the price, right? When it's coming down, and why kind of hold on to it. So if you bought it right, you must be sitting on some profit. So once it did this, so you're down 30% anyways. So most bases, sound bases, are 20 to 30% deep in good market conditions. So let's carry on. So you'll see, like, from here onward, it was never able to pierce this upper channel. So in here from May 2022, it tried to build some kind of bottoming pattern here, but again there was this solid supply line. Somebody was, the big guys were distributing the stock at a fixed price, and then the picture is just clear. It keeps happening. So it breaks down, wedges up. So these points I'm marking, so these would be used as if somebody was shorting the stocks. So that's where you would normally place your stop loss, just a few points away from this line. And if it comes back and takes you out, that's it. But if it continues to move in that direction, then you can just So anyways, fast forward. So the stock kept going down and down and down, and this happens when something is falling rapidly. So it can't go down forever, right? So at some point the sellers are exhausted, and um, some kind of buying wave comes in. So what you see from November 2021, there's no buy signal, right? So there's no buy signal. The stock is in a clear downtrend, and that still hasn't changed. So the only thing, and what's currently happening in the stock is, you see how this lower channel is there. So I was not surprised when it started bouncing, on the volume on this one. So you see a big volume here. So yeah, so it you see how 1, 2, 3. So this is fourth time it's bouncing off that lower channel. But is it a buy still? Looking at the chart pattern, no, because there's no valid pattern, and it can potentially this this recent resistance is still there. It can probably go all the way up or pierce it a little bit, and then starts to roll over, and then go sideways. Um, for myself, it may be a buy if it develops a proper pattern here, and shows a solid bottom and the big volume on up days. Or the another signal would be, that would be kind of definitive, when it goes all the way up through this upper channel, it will pierce it, will probably come back a couple of times, maybe once or twice, to retest this trend line and then gets going. So that at least gives you better odds of yeah, yes. So stock will be uh, reaching this. Stock would have already more than doubled by then, but this overhead supply, right? So we need not to deal with that, because people who bought here or here all the way up to here, right? Even so, all this supply is recent. So you want the overhead supply to be at least 18 months away, but this is not. So all these people are stuck there. So once they get to their break even, they are probably going to sell. So these buys will need to burn through all that overhead supply. So once that is done and it breaks that downtrend line, and then there's some valid pattern as well, right? It comes back again, then it gets going. So that's where it may be considered as a buy, but not now. So that's my take on Tesla.